Before Montezuma and before Cortez, the natives of what we now call Mexico worked with the ancient and lustrous mineral of silver in masterful ways, crafting sculptures flaked by the sparks of the earth. The pre-Columbian silversmithing was soon a calling card of a conquered nation, and Mexican silver would help fund the discovery of new lands. My name is Thomas Nagin, and I'm a mineral explorer. For the last 35 years, I've traveled the world in search of the finest gems, crystals, and minerals. Now, I'm taking you along with me. It's humid in here. We'll visit some of the richest mines and discover just what it takes to unearth these natural treasures. It's gonna be one heck of an explosion. It's okay, come on. Home to nearly 20 million people, Mexico City is one of the largest cities in the world. Once the capital of a powerful Aztec empire, Spanish conquest in the early 1500s allowed Cortez to seize control and build a capital for New Spain. Soon the Spanish were on the hunt for the silver and gold that was once a gift from the natives. Today, Mexico City is home to one of the country's most prominent silver houses. Here at Tani, the tradition of Mexican silversmithing can still be seen in its world-class craftsmanship. From their pre-Columbian influence to its more modern and elegant designs, the art of silversmithing has not been lost. And here is a great example of the evolution of the spoon, from the ingot to the finished product. Tani pieces can be found in the homes of royalty, movie stars, industry leaders, and in museum collections. The company prides itself both in preserving and evolving the art of molding this noble metal. The skill of the craftsmen, their attention to detail, their knowledge of generations past is reflected in the anthem of the workshop. A new creative note with every strike of the hammer. For decades, Tani's been well known throughout Mexico for its top quality craftsmanship, and that starts with top quality silver.
Here is a place where everything is beginning. All that we are making in Tani is from three things. This is grain, coming from the mine directly, and ingots. And this is like laminated silver. All of this is Mexican silver.
So this is a laminate of silver, and it's 970, 97% silver. Ooh, look at that.
If you want to make quality after, you have to begin with a very good element at the beginning.
You have to start with quality to end up with quality.
That's a point.
So this is pure silver here. These are silver ingots, which are 970.
And I will show you how with this and only one hammer, they can make a very big spoon.
With one hammer? Oh, that would be cool. I'd love to see that.
I will show you.
So he's making a spoon now, right? Okay. Una cuchara. Here they're making a spoon. It's a sample spoon out of brass. This is the finished product they want to get to. It's a dessert spoon. First, they use this as a model, and they pound it out, like he's doing here, to this size. They send it to be polished, and they trim it up, and then they take it here, and they pound it out like this to make the contour of the spoon. With a little heat and a lot of hard work, we witness a piece of Mexican history take shape. It's actually forming the silver. Silver is a hard metal, and needs to be heated before it's shaped. With the right artist and a few thousand spins, what once was a rock is now a chalice. Everything must be measured so that it is the precise size. Perfect.
We put it in plastic because of to keep the color of the silver.
To keep it from oxidizing.
Exactly. All of these are very famous artists from Mexico. This is Soriano, this is Toledo from Oaxaca, this is Rodriguez, this is Jan Hendrix. It's called La Linterna.
La Linterna, the light. The shine of high-quality silver has long lit the curiosity of visitors to Mexico, from the early Spanish explorers to modern-day collectors. Now, Mexican silver has become a blank canvas to artists around the world. Jan Hendrix was born in the Netherlands, but has lived and worked in Mexico since 1978 and is now collaborating with Tani.
The whole thing grew out of drawing, and the draftsmanship and the work I've been doing as a printmaker gradually got me into suddenly these large drawings that I realized I could fold them up or unfold them and turn them into sculptures. So it's a bit of a two-dimensional drawing that turns into a three-dimensional object.
So when did you start turning these drawings into...
Let's say about 15 years ago, the thing really started. Plus the collaboration with architects and doing the upscaling in a literary sense, that you make a drawing and you make it bigger or you make it very small. So you start to do things really in a big scale or in a very small scale. Making a piece with silver gets you to a small scale, and then the drawing becomes a very intimate affair.
Yeah, how do you like working with silver?
For me, as a printmaker and a draftsman, paper is very seductive. But nowadays, one of the materials I really bowls me over how beautiful it is silver.
The beauty of silver has not only inspired stunning works of art, but its rich value is reflected throughout the entire country, where this precious mineral has created other booming communities. Pachuca is the grandfather of the Mexican silver industry, where high officials from Mexico City would devote their lives and their fortunes to the mines that gave birth to one of Mexico's first colonial boomtowns. Mining history is alive and well in Pachuca, thanks to the efforts of museums and geologists like my friend and fellow mineral dealer, Luis Hagenbeck. He owns and operates shops all across Mexico and helps supply the museum with specimens from all around the world. While Luis works, we learned of the geological process that helped to create these specimens.
This is the neovolcanic belt, and it's the volcán of Colima, the Nevado de Toluca, the Iztaccíhuatl and Popocatépetl, La Malinche, and the Pico de Orizaba.
This volcanic occurrence that happened here is where all the minerals formed in this section of the country, right?
Yes, mostly, and you can also find gold and silver near the surface because of the volcanoes who have tossed them to the surface.
This volcanic activity helped to create the Mexican Silver Belt, which is the world's most productive silver district with an annual production of over 10 billion ounces and includes cities like Guanajuato. By the 18th century, Guanajuato had become the world's largest silver producer. The mineral wealth built impressive Baroque buildings, crafted with the same mastery as the legendary silversmiths. I can imagine the excitement of the early explorers when they discovered silver. What I can't imagine is how it must have felt unearthing this next discovery. Unlike the famed Egyptian mummies, these were never embalmed but preserved by nature.
In this exhibition, you can see 66 mummies. Many expressions of pain in the face of the mummies are natural. For example, you can see the tongue between the teeth. You can see the eyes pop out of the sockets, but it's natural.
Wow, they're very creepy looking.
Yes, it's very creepy, yeah.
In this mining town, the arid climate, the wooden coffins, and above-ground crypts help create this unique occurrence.
You can see a body of a miner, and the miners died for a natural disease what calling silicosis.
Silicosis. He died because he was doing so much drilling, right?
Drilling the minerals.
And breathing
breathe the minerals.
Yeah.
And the minerals inside the lungs
Yes.
dry all the body. For that reason, you can see an extremely thin person.
So there was really a lot of miners in this area, right?
Here in Guanajuato,
Yeah.
it's the best job.
Mexican tradition embraces both life and death, but the spirit world is also celebrated in the ornate churches throughout Guanajuato. So this was the fellow's house here, huh?
Antonio Obregón Alcocer. That is the owner of the mine, and he promised to make the church.
You know, a fellow told me that when his daughter got married, they made a carpet, or actually a whole line of gold and silver bars for her to walk on to the church to get married.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah, you can imagine, no? 100, 300 feet, all covered with bars of silver and gold.
Right.
No?
Such
So
a rich time for
That's
Mexico.
right,
you know.
that's right, no?
The Valenciana Church is considered among the most beautiful examples of Baroque architecture in Central and South America. With its altars gilded with gold from local mines, it's a breathtaking display of both wealth and craftsmanship, representative of a town that was once among the most powerful in all of New Spain. But Guanajuato's charm shows itself best at night. And seeing this historic town come to life, I can almost imagine its heyday when the city produced 2/3 of the world's silver. A lot has changed over the last few centuries, but Guanajuato retains its lively energy and is the perfect place to sample another Mexican tradition, tequila.
Mine is stronger
Yours is stronger than mine?
because darker.
So to me, it's really incredible to think that one place in the world can produce 2/3 of the world's silver, one city.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also, you know, that is a great example because we will see exactly the same situation that happened here in Guanajuato during the 18th centuries, but right now in Fresnillo, it's exactly the similar case, but right now in
But
this
it's happening now.
in these times, no? So that will give you a very good
Give you an idea what Guanajuato was like.
happened
Yeah,
in
right.
in that part of the history.
Well, salute
Yeah, salute.
to Guanajuato.
Yeah, that's right, right here.
That's good. Maybe it was the booze or the warm Mexican night, but I believe it was the spirit of Guanajuato that brought me to my feet in celebration of a moment flavored with the richness of the past. Many people have the wrong impression of Mexico. While it does have its dangers, it also has a beauty so vivid in its poetry, you have to pause and take in a verse. And the beauty extends beyond its landscapes to its storied cities with their rich histories and lively cultures. Cities like Zacatecas. Nestled in the mountains of central Mexico, this capital city once produced a fifth of the world's silver and would go on to play a crucial role in the Mexican Revolution.
See, this ex-convent from the Franciscans, ex-temple, begins in 1567.
Founded as a Spanish mining camp in the 16th century, today it's a jewel of the Silver Belt, rich not only in Mexican history, but also important to the foundation of the United States.
Cities now, as we know, as it has names as saints, San Francisco, Santa Barbara, San Antonio, Texas, all them saints came from this place. Because
And they were all founded from here, from the families that came from here.
that's correct.
These storied hills would play a crucial role in a victory for rebel forces against the Central Mexican government. The Battle of Zacatecas of 1914 is said to have been the bloodiest battle of the decade-long revolution. Over 6,000 people were killed on this very hill, dead bodies laying everywhere, and the vicious Pancho Villa was the one that led the battle. The story of this legendary city is still being written today, as the region continues to be the world leader in silver production, due in large part to the nearby Fresnillo mine.
It's a wonderful mining colonial town. It's a great place to be.
That's great. This area was where mining actually started, right?
Yes, the mining.
Zacatecas.
The mining started in Mexico. We would say that in two main areas. No? That would be Zacatecas and in the area of Pachuca. No? Perhaps are the two oldest mining places. No? And silver has always been the iconic symbol of Mexico and the iconic symbol of Zacatecas. Zacatecas is the largest state in Mexico producing silver ores. It's at the same time is the largest state, I would say, worldwide producing the silver. No?
Wow. Because of the abundance of silver in the region, Zacatecas is a great place to look for crystallized silver. And I have a tip on an old collection.
En la casa tengo algunos otros, como apenas estoy trayendo los minerales para acá.
Crystallized silver has become harder to find as mines are cracking down on its removal. These specimens have been swept up or overlooked in the industrial process. The crystals are broken right here,
Yeah, that's right.
and that kind of makes it a tough sell for a collector.
Yeah.
It's not always what you're looking for, but what you find along the way. I like these.
You get lucky. Very expensive now in Las Vegas.
What I like about this lot of Mexican amethyst are the large, clear, deep-colored crystals in matrix. But I don't think he's going to part with them easily. Let's see what we can do here. Many dealers keep their best stuff at home. Once the dealer knows you're serious, you can oftentimes get access to his private collection and hopefully add a stellar piece or two to sweeten the deal. It was definitely an impressive collection, but like many collectors, there were some pieces he just wouldn't part with.
Ah, sí, pero ese es muy bonito, super, super.
Sí.
¿En cuánto lo vende esa?
No, ese...
Ese no está en venta.
no, es que yo estoy loco.
Yo también.
But I did find a few pieces of crystallized silver that caught my eye.
¿Cuánto costarán esos?
Argentita, sí.
Argentita también. Y esos son a 1,000 pesos por los dos. ¿Cuánto por los tres?
Mi error y 2,000 pesos por los tres.
Puede vender eso, si compro esos en 2,000 pesos, puede vender la ametista en $5,000. ¿No?
Es que no me sale. 6,500. Es todo lo que puedo,
Sí.
la verdad.
Bien, bien.
Muy bien.
Ok, hecho.
I was happy with the buy, But an even better deal was the opportunity to see inside the world's largest producing silver mine. Located about 40 miles outside of Zacatecas, Fresnillo has been producing silver for centuries. Operated by Peñoles, a Mexico City-based company, it is one of the world's most profitable mines and a major source of employment for the city. And with soccer fields, an animal sanctuary, and public parks, Peñoles is committed to helping support the community in many ways. While the view from above was terrific, I was anxious to see the city from below. This is by far the largest mine I've ever explored, and Alejandro was guiding us deep into Mexico's silver history.
We're going to level 720, which is 720 meters, well over 2,000 feet below the surface.
It felt like something out of a sci-fi movie, with all the machinery and a sense of life buzzing through an uninhabitable world. In these dark, humid, and wet surroundings, the best fashion is safety, from the headlamps down to the rubber boots.
We're about to see the jumbos operate. What they do is they drill holes into the rock so that they can put explosives in them. That helps do their exploration and further make more of these tunnels and take out the silver minerals.
The jumbo is a real monster of a machine to see in action. I got to take it on an exhilarating test run.
Now, the work that they do here is done looking for veins. The veins are the thickest concentration of the mineral silver. What they'll try to do is they'll try to follow those veins and get as much silver out as that they can. Now, down here is the silver vein. You can see it running at a diagonal angle. We're in a very rich area of the mine, an area that's just loaded with silver.
Silver, the most conductive of all metals, is used in almost all electronics. Everything from solar panels and X-rays to computers and cell phones. But I wanted to find silver in its crystalline form.
We're looking for crystallized silver now, different types of silver minerals. And I'm with Carlos and Lupita, and we're in the San Carlos vein. And hopefully we're going to have some good luck. Carlos, this is going off. What does that mean?
This means that when this scores 60, it's telling us that there's a bad air about the explosives. The
bad air in here?
Yes.
Are we all going to die?
No.
No, okay. That's good.
Until...
Just a warning.
Yes, just a warning. That's because...
Lupita, are you scared? You got your mask on. Should I have a mask on?
Yes.
Oh, I should, okay.
Once the gases had cleared, we continued our search in this newly formed tunnel.
Looks like we found a little pocket up here which has quartz and calcite and some crystallized silver in it. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get up to it here this afternoon, but I'll show you what some looks like out of the pocket.
A lot of people don't realize that silver will also come in a crystal form, and they're very sought after by collectors. Luis, these are some really nice pieces of crystallized silver or silver minerals, and these are actually argentites, right?
Yeah, that's right. There are just small pieces.
You can really see the crystal structure of them really nicely. This one here is kind of like a cubic one, right?
That is the most common way that the argentite can grow.
So collectors usually look for the most aesthetic types of crystals, the ones that have the nicest form And they're really the prettiest to the eye. I've learned a lot on this trip, actually, and
That
it's
is
been a lot of
great
fun.
experience
Yeah.
to be in one of the richest silver mines all over the world and the biggest producers of silver. So you get a lot of information. You learn a lot when you get that experience, no?
Yeah. All minerals have a story, and the story of silver can't be told without including the rich heritage of Mexico. From the colonial cities that built new worlds to the modern mining towns that supply the world's industrial needs, the search for silver has inspired collectors around the globe to save the fragments of nature's art. And with each piece, the legacy of historic lands are preserved. If you want to see more episodes or check out our mineral collection, click the link in the description. And of course, like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Mineral Explorers.